Alright guys, this vlog, I'm gearing it specifically for my fellow Space Marine players. And Space Marines have been, as long as I've played 40k, been considered the most neutralist army. And I don't mean neutralist as in they don't have much sway in the galaxy, but what I mean is they are good at everything, master of none. They're not specific at any one thing, like Tau, like Necrons, like Tyranids, like Orcs. But they're balanced enough in a way where you could do a lot with them. But I want to go back to the good at everything, master of none aspect of it. And really put out there, are they truly masters of none? Is there not one thing that they're specialized in? And the reason I say this, and I'm not looking at the Space Marine chapter specific, so not looking at Blood Angels, not looking at Dark Angels, not looking at Space Wolves, but I'm looking at the generic Space Marine Codex. And you have 7 armies, 7 different chapters that you can play. And in my opinion, they actually are 7 chapters that are, for the most part, specialists in a certain area, with one exception. Because you have the Ultramarines, which have the Doctrine tactics. So for a turn, you could one turn each, you can boost yourself in the shooting phase, you can boost yourself in the assault phase, and you can actually boost your devastators. Now, there's some other aspects that actually make Ultramarines, I think, a little bit better, but I'll get into that at a later video. But you take a look at the other chapters. Now, I'm actually on my way to my local game store, or to the game store that I play at quite frequently in my hometown, to play some 40k. So I don't have the codex right there in front of me. So the one chapter that kind of escapes me a little bit is Black Templar. But essentially Black Templar carry, their chapter tactics are different, but we all know deep down they come from the Imperial Fists. You've got the Imperial Fists, speaking of, which makes them probably one of the best shooting Space Marine armies out there. And that's why I play them. And they also buff the Devastator as well, giving them Tank Hunter. You get a +1 against buildings, which, really, how often do you play with actual buildings that have an AV value, an armor value? You know, whether it be AV 12, 13, 14, you rarely see it, in my opinion, anymore. Very rarely see it. Now, so you got the Imperial Fist, and I think they actually did a lot better with the Imperial Fists in this particular, in the 7th edition update, because at first, Bolter Drill, we all know, they reroll on 1s from anything that has the word bolt in it. So basically, bolt pistols, bolt guns, storm bolters, heavy bolters. Anything that's a bolter or deals with bolt. But then in 6th edition, it excluded special ammunition that are used by the stern guard. Here in 7th edition, they added that special ammunition in. And the only logical reasoning I could think is, hey, guess what? It's being shot out of a bolt gun. Which makes all the logical sense. So that's my take for Imperial Fists for the moment. Then we move on to some of the other chapters. And I'm trying to think of them. You have Raven Guard, which, to me, this is just how I perceive them. Again, I can't think exactly all of the chapter tactics right off the top of my head, but Raven Guard are kind of this lurk in the shadows, strike at the most convenient time that would give them the best tactical advantage. Again, it makes logical sense. White Scars, born in the saddle, which makes them a good bike army. I think born in the saddle automatically allows their bike squads to pass dangerous terrain tests, which is a big deal. They also have hit and run, which, if you're a bike army, or even with assault marines and jetpacks, that can be very lethal. And it kind of makes me want to try running White Scars up against probably one of my most hated armies I just hate playing, being the Tau. Because Tau, you can move up 6 inches, shoot 5 different weapons, and then jump back. Here, with White Scars, hit and run, you can move, you can assault, you can hit them in close combat, and then I can't remember what the roll is. I want to say it's like a 3-up, 4-up, or maybe past leadership test. You guys can maybe correct me in the comments below. But then you can run from that combat and kind of regroup. Then you have Iron Hands. That is another chapter I would love to play, as they have the flesh is weak, so automatically your entire army, minus vehicles, but your entire army gets a 5-up feel no pain, which is big. The other aspect, which is machine empathy, because if you remember, Iron Hands, they don't want to have anything to do with their flesh. They think that the flesh is weak. It's inferior. So they are replacing their bodies with machine parts, which I'm pretty sure is not what the Emperor wanted. But machine empathy, all infantry models and vehicles, and this is a big thing, and vehicles have it will not die. Now, they had the machine empathy in 6th edition, but still, you give a vehicle an entire army, everything, infantry and vehicles, it will not die, I think makes them that much better. And then we get to White Scars. Not White Scars, I already touched White Scars. Salamanders. That's who I'm trying to leave out. Salamanders. They are actually fairly good with flame weapons. they can give one model the Master Crafted special rule. They can also reroll, I believe, 2 wounds with flame weapons. And I think also, if you look in really close, I think you can also do that with Melta weapons, which really adds to how well they are. Now, all this being said, can you truly say that Space Marines are master of nothing? Because you specifically, in this instance, have several different Space Marine chapters that are good at some specific element. Whether it's having Devastators that can take out armor, or are really good at shooting, to being able to burn your enemies alive. However you want to look at it, that's still being specific. Now, yes, you have to be a specific chapter, but really, that really does put Space Marines, I think, a little bit above the, I don't want to say stigma, that's probably the best word, is the stigma of they're just average. Because, as we saw in my power ranking videos, there are a lot of codexes that are average, that more or less the 7 through 12 area. You got codexes that are above average, 1 through 6. You got armies that are below average, 13 through 18. So, and Space Marines, if you remember, were number 3 on my power rankings, because I'm looking at them not only as being a Space Marine player, but seeing what they did, changes between 6th edition and this new 7th edition codex. What's been added, what's been modified, and more or less, you look at the other codexes, and you can automatically then say, okay, you're going to run orcs. We're in a city. I'm going to go salamanders, because I know I can get up close and burn with fire. Or, okay, we're in a slightly open map. I have some decent cover. You're an army that likes to stay back a little bit. Or, we'll just say, for argument's sake, you're an army that, okay, for me to really be effective, I need to get up close and really hurt you in the assault. Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to take the Imperial Fists. That way, in order for you to really hurt me, you have to, or at least try and hurt me in close combat, you are going to have to first get to me, and the volume of dice that I'm going to throw for having 10-man squads, heavy bolters, stern guard with special ammunition, and hurt me that, and at least survive with still some decent numbers to be effective. So what do you think, Space Marine players? Are we still considered master of none? Or do we actually have a little bit more say in how we are? Let me know in the comments.